Hello and welcome to another Raggy's beer review, and also angler screen. There we go. All of a sudden, two eye. That's better. So today, continuing on the Raggy's beer reviews, 150th year celebration of Batemans Beer Reviews, going through all their bottled beers, and we're not far off the end actually. Looking behind me, I only see vintage ale now, so I've gone through all the rest but this one. So Skull and Hammers, let's talk about it. But first thing, Batemans Brewery are bringing two new beers into supermarkets. So the first one is Pero. It's a juicy pale ale. Did actually see this once on cast for me. And the Triple Hop IPA, there we go. I think I've actually drank the Triple Hop IPA. They're coming to supermarkets, so hopefully, as soon as I find them, there will be beer reviews. So today we're going to talk about Skull and Hammers, from Batemans Brewery, of course. An American IPA. Says Salem Brew Co. on the top. Salem Brew Co. is what they seemingly use for their more crafty beers. Now, I class this as a bridge between full-on normal modern traditional beers and full craft beers. It's in that sweet zone of being a modern traditional craft beer crossover. So, just for me anyway. But we'll go into it and we'll... it's always funny because there's a perception that modern traditional comes in bottles, craft comes in cans. It's not always the case. So, yeah. Anyway, it's brewed with Chinook, Cascade and Citra hops. 5.5%. On the back it says, as fourth generation craft brewers, our adventurous streak at Salem Brewery is what keeps us thirsty for more. Being one of the first breweries in the UK to focus on small batch production, we're now driving our evolution through Salem Brew Co. This pale hoppy small batch American IPA is brewed and late hopped with American hops to produce an aromatic nose, citrus taste and piney finish. Salem Brew Co, Salem Bridge Brewery, Mill Lane, Wainfleet, Lincolnshire. SalemBrewCo.com, aka Batemans Brewery. So whereas Batemans Brewery gives you, I suppose, a modern traditional vibe, Salem Brew Co gives you a craft beer vibe. I mean, in essence, it doesn't really matter because, you know, it's the beer inside that counts. But I do understand the branding. As some of my local breweries with their beers, you know. So here we go. So you see what I mean about modern traditional going into craft, on that bridge into the world of craft. Not, you wouldn't call that a full-on hazy craft beer. You'd look at that, a lot of people would look at that and say modern traditional. You know, it's all down to perceptions and obviously not wanting to upset anybody. But it looks like a modern traditional beer. But let's get into the taste. So it's a golden looking pour in this light in the beer room, with a lovely bubbly frothy white head, a bit of sporadic carbonation going, and it's in the Batemans Brewery glass as well. I picked it up from the brewery when I was there on my trip to Lincolnshire. It seems like weeks ago now. It hasn't been that long, but it seems like weeks ago. It was nearly a month ago. Wow, time flies. So, tropical aromas coming off this. Bit of a zesty punchiness to the beer. And I think Maggie's Beer Reviews was the first person in the UK to review this beer when it was originally released. If memory serves me correctly, it was either Morrison's or Tesco's, and I remember it coming out first day of the I think it was Tesco's actually, first day of the range review done. Spotted it, bought it home, reviewed it. Does that make my review any better? Doubt it, but you know, I think it's probably the third review of the channel of this particular beer. And like I say, it's my little thing of going back to the Batemans Brewery beers, giving each one a review and any future Batemans beers, and you know, just seeing what they're like in 2024. Whereas some breweries have discredited their beer brand by using cheaper methods, dropping the ABV down, and that Batemans have stayed true to what they brewed in the first place. That to me is absolutely critical. I'd rather pay more for a beer than have it as the beer I know and love, than a beer that has been dropped in ABV, ingredients changed, hops lowered, glucose added instead of, you know, all to make a cheaper beer. And whilst, you know, that may appease some breweries down south, shall we say, maybe up north as well, I am really glad to see that Batemans, you know, have stayed where they are. Quality's king. You know, brand name is everything. I mean, one of the beers that's changed recently is one of the beers that won a blind tasting test between 4 beers on Maggie's Beer Reviews, on a live tasting session where I was tasting each one. And now it won't win anything. And so that brand now, they've effectively destroyed their own brand, which is ridiculous, isn't it? You know, and I read on, you know, just going slightly more into that, I've read reviews on the internet, and the reviews are slating, and so you build your brand over many, say, generations. This is the brand I'm on about is a generational brewer, and they, for whatever reason they're doing it for, have certainly done detriment to their brand. Weird. Anyway, here we go. So yeah, for me, the bridge in between modern and craft beer, but it's in the sweet zone. So you want a beer with, you know, that's more stronger and hoppier and bigger ABV. You get in there before you go into the full-on haze bombs that people consider full-on craft. It's funny how generations have changed. This latest craft beer generation was not around when I left work in 2015 at Sainsbury's. Literally in 2016, the cans started appearing on the shelves, and then this generation, which is now like 8 years old, this generation of craft has developed. Although technically Brewdog Punk IPA was around in 2011, and but wasn't well received anyway back in the day. So now the air's got to it, and it's delivering a more punchy, twangy beer. Lots of fruity flavours developing now the air's got to the beer. And as you can see, crystal clear beer. Oh, it's cold in the beer room. It's ridiculous. It's middle of May and I'm sat with a fleece around me in the front room, and I work outside. I'm not a, you know, somebody who doesn't work out in the elements. I think I'll have to put the winter stuff back, keep the winter stuff back on just a little bit longer until it warms up properly. I've gone down to more spring-like clothes, and yeah, I've suffered the last few days. A slightly thicker jumper and this would have been a wise move, but hey ho, can't win them all. So like I say, it looks like 2 new beers from Batemans are going into supermarkets. I've not seen them yet, so as soon as I find them, I should do a review, as I will. And with reviews, I can do reviews one of 2 ways. I can do a more like an informal review, the way I do most reviews, or I can do the full-on, being down to the nitty-gritty. And I prefer these reviews, you know, because you get a bit of life, a bit of culture, and it's not just a boring review with someone just picking out flavours. I can do that in 1 minute on a quick review, or a couple of minutes even. But for a proper, you know, for a proper review and more of a chit chat, like you would in the pub, this is the sort of review. Oh, that delivers a lovely taste. Like I say, subtle tropical flavours with a nice twang on that back end. 5.5%, yeah, nice sessionable ABV. It's funny how people get really funny over ABVs. Got to be honest, I'm not a fan of this 3.4% ABV that seems to be bandied around a lot these days. I understand why breweries do what they do, I get that, but certainly, yeah, not really much of a fan of it. Oh, that delivers a nice, full-on, flavourful beer. And on a Wednesday night, I keep forgetting it's Wednesday, feels like a Thursday. I normally go to my Newark workplace on a Thursday, and I've been today because there's nobody there today, so I've been only for the reason that nobody's there, so I can work on my own in peace and quiet. And not that anybody else works outside anyway, but you know, I do like a bit of peace and quiet regardless. The more you drink it, the more flavourful it becomes. And I've never actually seen it on cask. I know that Batemans have opened up a new pub in Lincolnshire. I pray for the day that they open up a pub near me in Nottingham somewhere. There's bound to be a pub that somewhere that needs to be that could be a Batemans pub. With good food, brilliant cask, and good people running it in a nice-ish area. Yeah, you wouldn't want to go in the rough areas, but there's plenty of them. But yeah, you know, more in the posher areas, and get the right clientele in that, you know, really appreciate a good beer. Maybe one day, eh? Maybe one day Batemans will come into Nottingham, maybe. Or Nottinghamshire, you know. A bit closer to Nottingham, personally. I mean, the pub's closing down all the time. You know, there's a chance for that to happen. There's hoping anyway. I can dream in hope, can't I? You know, it would be good. I've just realised my homebrew's gone down loads. Wow. Wow. Didn't realise I drank so much. Oh well, gotta have an hobby. So as we can see, a lovely, shall we say, golden looking pour in this light at least. I'd still say subtle tropical aromas and a tropical taste with a nice punchiness as well. For me, cracking beer, mind you. Would I drink it again? Always the big question. Hell yes. Yeah. And I shall return to re-review it probably in a year's time, you never know. Or just drink it and not tell anybody. Out of 5 for me, good 4.4 out of 5. It's a very nice beer. And that's my review. Looking to get the new beers as soon as I see them. But thank you for watching, as always. Cheers, everyone.